Right then, Willie, the derby looms this week as Super League finally returns. Are there any surprise absentees that we need to know about?
No, just the ones that we're going to have out. Obviously, Sam Luckley's out. Matty Staunton's the other one, which we spoke about after the game. So his injury's not looking as bad as what we first thought, which is great. So initially that was going to be, I was told it was 4 to sort of 6 weeks, but he's a possibility for being back round 2. Definitely, so that round 3.
Excellent. Sam Luckley as well, as you say there, is he making more of a speedy recovery than you first envisaged?
Yeah, definitely. So we'll know more where Sam's at after this week, but he's a possibility for being ready to go for round 2 as well. So again, he sort of just started running again, and we'll get a better idea the back end of the week. Initially, it was sort of that round 3, but there's a possibility he could be back for round 2.
Excellent. Jez Litton's had obviously shoulder surgery in the off-season or the end of last season, beg your pardon. How happy are you with the speed and success of his surgery and how quickly he can get back up to pace, given that you've given him some minutes in pre-season?
Yeah, it was good for Jez. We hadn't planned on giving him that amount of time, especially at 9. We're going to move him to 7, give him some minutes there as well, because we went with the 3 hookers. Matty Parcell obviously didn't play because he had a baby, but that was the plan initially. And then Matty not playing, and then Reece getting injured. He had the head knock, so it meant Jez played 60 minutes, which in hindsight was really good for him. Been training well. And he's looking forward to Thursday night.
And obviously delighted. We have to send our obviously best wishes to Matty and his family as well on the birth. It's a big thing becoming a dad.
Yeah, massive. There's no better feeling, and then there's nothing better for me than being a father. That's for sure. And Matty's experiencing that now, and he realises that when you get home, no one gives you the manual and says, "Okay, this is what you got to do." Pretty much, it's you're on your own. But Steph and his little one Sadie, they're obviously nice and healthy and happy, and everyone's at home now, which is good. And Matty's back at work, so it's all good.
Excellent. How happy are you with the cover that you've got for the positions with these big guys missing out against LFC who've re-energised with a big pack in the off-season?
Sorry, mate, are you saying with the guys that we've got missing?
Yeah, just saying, for those who are out, are you happy with the cover that you've got as you prepare for round 1?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've had strong pre-season in terms of players available and getting a lot of loads and minutes and people in terms of what they've done on the field. So the starting team that we're gonna that we'll go with, and then obviously the bench have all played. They've all trained. Most of the pre-season, so you want to have a team that's fit and ready to go. It's unfortunate for the guys that aren't, but it's a long season and they'll get their opportunity.
Excellent. Who's impressed you the most, would you say, from the new signings in their preparation for round 1?
Oh, I mean, they all have in their own different ways, but the guy that I sort of keep mentioning is Peter Hiku. Obviously moving to fullback, he's had to get himself fit, and he's had to. He's had more loads put in than he has previously, but, Peter hasn't missed a session. We've had to take him out of a block here and there, but literally he's done everything that the team, in terms of what's been asked of the team. There's certain players, or most players, miss out, whether they're sick or there's, some minor injuries, or, they just can't fulfill the session, and pretty much Peter's done every session. As I said, there was a moment there that we just took him out for a block or 2, but he's gone after it. He's added a lot, and there's no doubt he's going to be an important part to what we do this year.
Of course. And you mentioned there about moving him to half-back when possible. Are you still looking around for anyone who could maybe take up that position through a transfer if you needed to? Yeah,
we are. It's something, as I said, it's going to be ongoing. It's not an easy process, but it'll happen eventually. As I've said before, players who aren't getting game time, or clubs that don't feel that a player's part of their long-term plans, and it's a win-win for everyone. Then that they become available at some stage. It's just not happening at the moment.
Yeah, you utilised your youth as well at points last season, particularly, of course, against Wigan. And with the link-up, of course, with Featherstone this year, how much more are you going to utilise that partnership in comparison to before?
Look, it's one of those where it's up to Featherston essentially, isn't it, on who they want to play. So what we want to do is it's no secret the championship's the next best competition, but behind the Super League, and then obviously the reserves is after that. So we want our players playing as much sort of championship as possible. And if Featherston see potential in our younger players, that's great because we want to give them game time in a really strong competition. So it's one of those where it just depends on what sort of players Featherston need and who they got their eye on. But we'd love, guys like Louis Gorman, who we've got high hopes for down the future. Leo Tennyson, he's had a really strong pre-season and started well in the friendlies. There's no doubt that those two have shown that they can handle championship level, and they both played well when they come on against Leeds. So they're two, of note that I think would be, that would benefit playing in a championship side, and I think it'd be a win-win for the club and obviously player.
How big a collective is it that players may have exceeded your expectations over pre-season, particularly in the youth department? Has anyone shown even further progression than you would expect?
Well, probably the two that I mentioned. I think Louis Gorman's for me is one that, it's his first pre-season, so it's exciting to see where he's going to be in a year or two. Like any young player, you don't want to be putting too much expectation, and you need to develop them. Louis he's only light in terms of his body weight, so he needs to obviously grow. He becomes a full a man, so to speak, in terms of when you get in your 20s, that's when you develop physically, and so in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, that's when we're going to see a really, really good player, I believe. And when I say really good player, like he just does everything right at training. He goes at it. All you ask from your players is to give their best every day, come with the right attitude, and that's Louis Gorman. Someone like Leo Tennyson, he's probably took a bit of time last year to adjust to a full-time environment, and the physical demands of a full-time environment. There's no doubt that Leo probably plays better than what he trains. But what we want to do is get his training standards, which have improved significantly, but get them to a higher level, and then that'll help him when he plays. But again, he's another one that we've seen significant development in the space of a year. So those two are probably the ones that stand out.
Excellent. Let's look to the season then. It's 39 years, I think it is, since the right half of Hull lifted a championship. How many more ingredients do you need to really put yourself in the frame, because you went one game short last season? Yeah,
look, I mean, we're out in the season now, in the stage of the season. I really only want to speak about Thursday night, because we need to build it again. We need to lay the foundations again. Obviously, the end result is, of course, everyone wants to play in those big games, and we're no different. But our most important task is this Thursday night. It's a derby. No better way to kick the season off. And we're really looking forward to that. So that's the main focus for us. And then, it's a long season. You start to, work out. We've already set our KPIs for the year internally and what that looks like. You get those right, then the back end looks after itself.
How big and how proud a responsibility are you that Elliot Minachella is now the one who's going to replace Sean with the captain's armband, given that he obviously, as he's mentioned to me, he dabbled with it a couple of times last season. Was he the perfect fit for you to take up that responsibility?
Yeah, he was. He's earned it. Like, I always talk about, players at the club, you need to earn your jumper, and you're not given it. It's a very similar situation with Minnie. He's earned that captaincy. Hasn't been just given it to him. He's worked hard. He's had some setbacks, or many setbacks along the way. He had some minor ones last year when I arrived at the club. We had some good, honest discussions around where he was at and where I think he can get to. And he just put his head down and worked hard. And you'll see on the pitch that there's none more passionate than Elliot. And when Elliot's buzzing around with that energy and passion, it's infectious and runs through the team. So it was, for me, a no-brainer for him to be captain. And he's proven that in the pre-season. And now, obviously, the games start. There is more pressure. There's obviously it's a week-to-week grind. But I've no. Minnie will handle that on his ear, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him grow, because he's already grown as a leader in the short space of time. Leadership's evolving in it. There's no end to leadership, so I'm excited to see where he can take it.
I like what you say there about there's no end to leadership. As the coach, what do you think you've gained yourself on top of what you gave the players last season? Are you coming into this season with anything different?
Oh, look, you always look to evolve and grow. That's what I said. It's always evolving in it, leadership, and I'm no different. You always source and try and look for better ways to do things. You look at what's worked and what hasn't, and you put things in place around, where you think you want to head as a side. But I've certainly got some non-negotiables that I'll always stick to as a coach. And for us, that's I look at leadership and where we want to go with this team. It's far more beyond myself and the staff. It's the players are going to take this club where we want to go, and our leaders are going to do that. When I say our leaders, our leadership group, they're the ones that essentially make decisions around how far we want to get. As I said, it's always ongoing. It's evolving. But I'm happy where we're at in terms of that leadership space, in terms of the player development, where our leadership group's at.
And with your transfer activity on paper, in comparison to the clubs around you, how good a business have you done as a club this off-season?
Yeah, we like to think we've done really good business. I'm sure most clubs would be saying the same thing. I think, the players that popped up and were available, we got sort of who we wanted. Obviously the Tyrone Mays and Oliver Gildarts and players like that. Kalepi and Peter Hiku. Many clubs were after those guys. There's no doubt about that. They had options, and for us, they chose Hull KR, and they thought that we were a club that was going to suit them, and we thought that they suited us. So, like any relationship, give and take in it, and I just think the players that we've got have settled in really well. But I'm looking forward to seeing them, to fit into what we did. Last year we set a lot of good foundations in terms of the way we played, and I'm looking forward to see them living that and putting that first, because what we've brought in is talent. There's no doubt about that. We've got a lot more pace this year, but we'll never forget, or we can't forget of who we are and what our identity is, and we'll stick to that. So I'm looking forward to see them doing that this Thursday night, because they've certainly done that in the pre-season.
You mentioned there about having more pace, and I imagine that obviously gives you more stamina, given the fact that we're going to have a lot more video referee this year. There's been some criticism from other coaches in the division who say it will slow the game down, but do you see it as a benefit, not just for the fan base being able to obviously digest as much rugby league as possible, but from a playing sense? You see that, and as a fitness sense, do you think that's actually a good safeguard for you? Maybe get less injuries?
Oh, look, there's no doubt it can slow the game down. I think it's one of those where, obviously the officials can make decisions, quickly if they want to say quickly, if they believe it's and they've got the evidence to say this is why we're making a decision. It can certainly slow the game down. But what I would like to see is the officials, when we can speed the game up, that the players are allowed to do that, because there's no doubt that there'll be times that the game will be, and momentum of games will slow down because of decisions made going to the video referee. I'm a fan of the video referee, because I think if, as I say, if it means getting in the grand final or to make a call in the grand final, I believe you need to have that access, but the negatives to that is we do want a fast game. We want to see teams, break other teams through how fit they are and how tough they are, like in terms of staying in a grind and all that. So some teams train that way, others don't. Others are going to benefit from the stop-start sort of game. I think what I'd be looking for is the officials, but letting the game flow when they can. If there's a penalty, let's speed it up. If there's a tap 20, let the players be able to play fast, because that's when you're going to get true attrition or attrition in the game. When you can do that, if we don't allow that, it'll be a really stop-start game, and fitness won't come into it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Let's look at the derby then. When you look at the other side of Hull and you look at what Tony Smith has done, bringing his recruits in, how much different a proposition are they for you in comparison to last year?
Oh, look, I mean, it's well known that they've brought in big bodies. They're big, strong, physical men. So you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a physical game. We know how they're going to start. We know how they're going to come out. So it's a matter of us. We look always to start fast in games and meeting that. I listened to Matty Pete talk about. Obviously, the first 20 minutes of that game was really tough and physical, and it's going to be. It's a derby, and they've got big bodies. So we've got a plan around how we want to play, and we'll just more or less focus on that more so than what they're going to bring.
As a coach, what did you take from the derby last year, the collection of games that you can embed into this year that might be a little different?
Oh, look, I really loved the experience. I thought, these derbies are special. We can say they're just another game, but, really, when we go to MKM Stadium on Thursday night, it's going to be a semi-final-like feel for round one, first game of the season. It's going to be electric. So, experienced both last year, when we went over their place and played extremely well. Look, that game wasn't as easy as that 40-0 indicates. It was tough. That first half was grinding, and then we just kept, building where then we played here. You're going to hear me talk about our best and worst performances not being too, a bigger gap. And there was a massive gap in those two games. That was a game that I was really disappointed with. To be honest, it was a game that I was more disappointed than losing the cup final, because in the Challenge Cup final, we put everything into that game. And, there was a few things that technically we needed to do better. And we fixed that up. And then we went on a run off the back of the St Helens game, where we won 7 in a row, because we learned a lot from that game. The game here at Craven Park was, there hasn't been too many times that, I haven't been proud of our performances, but that was a day that I know the players weren't proud of their own performance. Can't hear, mate.
Sorry about that, Willie. But what you have got from what you've just said there is you've got reaction, because without reaction, you didn't get to where you was last season. Even though you fell one game short in both aspects. Yeah,
look, I mean, it's not reaction so much from what I tell them. It's more what they see. Obviously, when you look at a review and when you show the players pictures, you're only showing them what just happened. It's so they're a very honest group. They know when they've put everything into it, and if they've fallen short, they know how to improve, and vice versa. If they feel that they haven't put their best foot forward, then they're pretty honest as well with that. So, we corrected ourselves well last year in certain games. There's times there that we went on a three game loss, and we need to improve on that. But as I said, if our best and worst performances aren't too far away, then that'll put us in good stead to where we want to get to.
And lastly, what would you say is an acceptable expectation for your side? Have you put a place in the table? I know obviously you want to finish top and you want to win everything, but what would be the bare minimum to take from this season as you look at it from round one?
Look, as I said, mate, the one for me, and I know I keep talking about it, but is performances, that best and worst not being far away. Because if we set that and set a high standard in terms of what our best looks like, and then our worst is not too far off, then we'll put ourselves in a decent position. But if we're inconsistent with performances, it's too hard to say where we're going to be. As I said, we've got KPIs, and it's not based around where we finish on the ladder. It's based around performance, and it's based around process and how we want to achieve it. And then, as I said, the result will look after itself. But most important for us is Thursday night. We want to start well. We want to, the whole goal for me before I got over here was to make our fans proud. There was a time last year that when we got beat against Wigan in the semi-final, we scored at the end, but the fans sung, Red Red Robin, and I was even though I was gutted we got beat, I was extremely proud as a coach because what that showed was the appreciation of what the fans thought of the team, and it showed the loyalty of the fans that we've got. So our aim this year is just to make our fans proud again. We do that, then we'll put ourselves in the picture down the back.
I appreciate your time, Willie. Thank you. That's everything from me.
Cheers. Thank you.
Hi, Willie.
Hey, Matt.
How you doing?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Not bad. Just a few from me. I know you said he's on track, but it'd be remiss of me not to ask about Kelepi Tanganoa. I think you said he was due to join full training with a group this weekend. Did that go to plan? Is he still on track to play on Thursday?
Yeah, so he's on track. So he'll have to pass a few more sort of tests that he'll have, but he'll be named in the 21. Then we'll take it from there.
Do you know you're 17 right here, right now?
I've got an idea of it. Sometimes it's made for you. As we've had, as I said, Matty Staunton's obviously out, so he won't be in. But there's an idea there. But as I said, we need to make sure players are fully fit, ready to go.
I know that your whole pre-season is designed to make sure that you're ready for round one, and I'm sure you are. But when do you think that you might peak later in the season? I'm taking into account the fact that you started a little bit later than you did last year, the fact that you have got a new look spine. Is it to be expected that it might be a bit of work in progress early doors?
Yeah, definitely. I think, us as a team, I always say your true indication of where you're at as a team is sort of around 10, 11. So you need those 10, 11 games to get everything out of you and then build those combinations. And for me, you learn about a team after round 10. You should be able to say, whole KR is this team. It'll take us, as I said, 10 rounds for you to get that, I suppose, opinion of us. So whatever we do round one, hopefully it's all positive, but there's going to be certain areas of our game that'll need a lot of work as well. So when you have, that's probably the challenge for us at the moment is getting all the new combinations that we've got, getting that to gel as quickly as possible. Sure, it can take time, but as I said, and I remember saying it last year as well. Like the true indication of where we're at as a team will be from round 10, because you've got all your you'll see what we do well, and you'll see areas that we need to work on. You can't get any of that in by round 1, 2, or 3. That takes some time.
Do you, given what Hull FC have brought in with some bigger bodies, does that change your team selection? Not so much in the 17 people, but maybe if some people start, if some people come off the bench, or are you more, you'll put the team out that, goes on your terms rather than trying to combat them?
Yeah, I mean, there's always two ways to look at things. You can look at an opposition and say we're going to play players or pick 17 this week that we think will suit playing against FC, so obviously bigger bodies, or you take the approach of I'll pick out what we believe is our best 17, going by training and friendlies. So we've probably gone down the track of looking at us, or not probably, we have gone down the track of looking at us first, but then certainly the style of play and then how we use our interchange will be based around how we believe that we can beat FC, and that could change in round 2 as well. But the side that you'll see is based around what we think will beat FC. Hopefully, that's the plan. But it's more so around training and then what they've done in the friendlies as well, and a little bit around what players gave us last year as well. Even though it's a new year, certain players played many games for us and long minutes, and you don't want to forget about that as well.
And just finally, from me, and I asked a similar question to Minnie when he was on, there's no such thing as a must-win game in round 1, but in terms of setting the platform for the season, or, really starting with a bump in the road, given the nature of the fact it's Hull FC, it's away, it's the derby, how important is this game, and how important is the result, or is it not the be-all and end-all?
Every game's important from now on, Matt. So for me, I'll be honest, friendlies, obviously you're looking at combinations and you're playing a lot of players, and so I don't think you can get a lot out of friendlies, but you can certainly get a lot out of round 1. There's no doubt that we're going over on Thursday to win this game. That's what we want to do. I know it's people shy away from saying that, but we actually want to go and start our season off the way we started the season off last year, and we're in full control of what happens. If we go there and play well, then we'll put ourselves in a good position. If we go and play the way we did it at Craven Park last year, we'll be in for a tough night. So we're fully aware of what they're going to bring. But as I said, it's all about getting ourselves right, getting our mindset right, and laying some foundations again, building those foundations of what we laid last year, and then seeing where that takes us. But round one is always you prepare for round one to go and put in a good performance, and that's what we're aiming to do.
So the fans will obviously, to them, it's the be all and end all, this game, isn't it? It doesn't matter where it's round one, round 10, whatever. Do you have to match that mentality of, it's absolutely win or bust, be all and end all, despite the fact it's the first competitive game of the season?
Yeah, I think, mate, I understand the derby and I understand the importance of it. For me, I look at this game, it's a privilege to be involved with, especially for the players. They're the ones that do it. But we're in a privileged position because, you've got two teams in the city that are fighting it out for bragging rights. You've got families that are split. There's so much, you go to work and then there'll be banter at work. But what that does is, it's as I said, it's a privilege to have a say in what happens with that. And as I said, the players are the ones that have the say in it. It's as I say, it's a special occasion for the city. It's going to be special on Thursday night. But our aim this year, and it was last year, is to make our fans proud. The relationship between the fans and the players was special to watch. And as I said, you only have to look at the Wigan game last year. It was at the end of the game. The fans are singing the song. We're going to go into the grand final, but that's a true sign of where that relationship's at between the team and the actual fans. We need to go build that again. But as I said, we're going there to make them proud on Thursday, and we want to hear them because whenever we could sell, we've sold, which we knew that'd be the case. And we want to hear him vocal again because we're in full control of that, but we want to build on that relationship this year.